Hello YouTubers, this is Gold Standard 0924 coming at you with another video. As you can notice, basically going to be redoing a video that I tried to do just about a week ago that I uploaded in regard about, Hugh Laurie and what if he were to appear on Once Upon a Time. So if you had to watch it the first time around, you might recommend you watch it again. So there's going to be a lot more, a better explanation as far as why I'm making this video, and going into it, I just came off very nervous. Just a lot of stammering. I felt like I had a hard time organizing my thoughts. And I knew what I wanted to say going into it, but I just felt, my mind was just all over the place. So just by re-watching that original clip that I made for that video, just pretty unsatisfied with it. So, just constantly changing around the description box just to kind of add some ideas and how I should have brainstormed a little more. So, yeah, so I was hoping not to do that, but unfortunately, I just felt the ambition and I have a lot more preparation to make this video as far as remaking it once again. So I apologize, for those that watch my original video that appreciate it. So I hope that this redoing of this video is at least as a lot more clear, a lot more concise, and better explained compared to my original video. So I sincerely apologize for those that had to sit through that first video. So I'm hoping that you enjoy this. And I know it seems a lot different compared to a lot of the other videos that I've done. And, I haven't really talked a lot about this show until recently. So it shouldn't come to any surprise considering, if you watch my TV finale reactions of Arrow and Once Upon a Time. So yeah, so I'm just gonna actually do a topic about Once Upon a Time again. So, yes, I actually got in this show around the second season, about like 8 episodes going into the second season, and it took me a while up until now to actually make a discussion for whatever reason. I mean, I know I bought the first season on DVD just a few months back, so so it's kind of got me a bit of a motivation to watch some of these episodes. I mean, I know it's um, a lot more cheesy and childish compared to a lot of primetime TV shows out there. Um, and they've done a lot of stuff that's very questionable, but I'm gonna probably get to that in another time. But that's not the whole point of this video. Um, but the whole purpose is to kind of it's one of those topics that I've been trying to look all over YouTube. I don't think there's been a lot of discussion as far as like what ifs as far as this is concerned. And one of those what ifs happens to be, if Hugh Laurie were the guest star on Once Upon a Time. And it's definitely something that I've been kind of had some inspiration of thinking about making this video since Hugh Laurie was in that movie Tomorrowland, which is a Disney branded movie that came out like a couple weeks ago in the box off in the theaters, and the box office it kind of tanked and it's received some pretty mixed reviews. Um, Now I haven't really watched the movie yet, so I'm not going to pretend that I did just by listening to spoilers and looking up like sites like Wikipedia about what happened in the movie. So so it's not going to I haven't watched that movie like I said, so I'll probably just watch it maybe sometime. I mean I'm not in the rush or in a hurry for that matter to see the movie in any shape or form. So maybe somewhere down the road, I'll probably make a discussion about the video. I mean, there's no guarantee that I will, but sometime in the future. Um, so with his role as a villain in that movie, it's kind of got me the idea, and around the same time, towards the end of the fourth season, we saw Emma sacrifice Regina and getting caught in the darkness. It almost looks like something out of the Spider-Man with the whole symbiote that's kind of like consuming her, and and eventually becoming the Dark One for season 5. So I think what I'm trying to say here is to kind of brainstorm my ideas, like if he were to appear on this show, because I've been um, you know one of my ideas when it comes to this role is because people knew Hugh Laurie and Jennifer Morrison. They when they were on House, it was the shows that put them on the map. It was Hugh Laurie rising in the mainstream prominence in North America. And, while he was doing a lot of stuff that was still somewhat successful with stuff like the Stuart Little movies, 101 Dalmatians with Glenn Close, and his comedic collaborations with Stephen Fry, House was really the show that really brought Hugh Laurie in the mainstream attention. And you fast forward a decade later, House has long ended, and Hugh Laurie's kind of moved on to doing movies and a couple of occasional TV guest spots here and there. And one of my dream scenarios, as far as Hugh Laurie and Jennifer Morrison working together again, is kind of I was watching the video that she did like a year or two ago about if there was like a My Fair Lady remake movie. Now, they've been talking about My Fair Lady around like 2008 about a possible remake, but it never really materialized. So, she was given this random question that, if she were to work with on the remake on My Fair Lady, she would, collaborate with her former co-star Hugh Laurie, be kind of like, or being kind of like the modern day Audrey Hepburn's character in the musical movie. Um, and having to collaborate, maybe have Hugh Laurie be like Henry Higgins, just trying to kind of teach her the how to adapt into the high hierarchy in England, and trying to just try to work on her accent, just kind of work on her speech without having any sort of speech impediment, speaking the English accent fluently. And it kind of gave me this sort of impression that, like, because, Hugh Laurie was on House, and he's from England, so he had to um, perform like pretend like, he's like a pure all-American, just speaking very fluent English. Um, so it kind of gave you that impression where, like, if Hugh Laurie can speak, like in a clear American accent, why can't Jennifer Morrison speak in, an English accent? It's like you scratch my back and I scratch your back. It just seems like very common groundish. And I'm very keen and open to that idea. And what if they carried some of those ideas? And what if, Hugh Laurie and Jennifer Morrison were to like reunite for like maybe an episode or two of Once Upon a Time? And one of my ideas that I actually brainstorm is around season 5. So obviously, Emma's gonna, be like sort of a villain, for maybe a temporary villain. Um, so I think you could have her like maybe make some subtle allusions to House. I'm not sure how many House allusions that they've made since Once Upon a Time premiered, but if you watch season 4, you've been they've been kind of keeping all the Emma's parents been kind of keeping Emma all these secrets about their past and some of the turmoil that they've caused that Emma doesn't realize up until later down in season 4. And she kind of freaked out. She couldn't believe that she thought they were good people, but it turns out that they weren't as good as what they appear to be. um, and you know God, I'm losing my train of thought here again, so I apologize. So yeah, so eventually Emma starts, at some point starts consuming slowly into the darkness. She starts to get a lot more aggressive. Her magic powers are kind of out of control, and she went as far as killing Cruella towards the end of the 4th season. And then eventually, they've been kind of teasing this whole idea in the second half, and eventually, she snaps out of it and starts to kind of come to her senses, or at least so we thought. And then, the as you remember the end of the season four, she gets kind of consumed in the darkness, and the sort of darkness that came from Rumpelstiltskin's heart that was pure, that became pure white by the end of the season finale. So, now that she's consumed in the darkness, I think you could maybe do something where, maybe she tries to requote the infamous quote from Dr. House, and, maybe have like her parents, David and Mary Margaret, just trying to confess or apologize to her about all the things that she's done or all the things that they've done, Emma's parents. And, it's like, we're sorry, we kept you the secret for too long. And, and then like Emma would start maybe rephrasing something that her old boss would say without mentioning, House's name, obviously, but, just do like a subtle allusion to House where Emma just says, somebody that I once knew from the past told me that everybody lies. I mean, I think it'd be something down the road, like something along those lines. And I think you can make maybe small house allusions there. And then I think once after she comes to her senses, like, she finds the true meaning of love and then trying to break out of that curse that she's in. Um, I think one of those brainstorming ideas I could get like Hugh Laurie to come in. Maybe if you watch 101 Dalmatians, the live action version with Glenn Close, Hugh Laurie portrayed a comedy villain named Jasper, and he was one of Corella's henchmen in the animated movie and the live action movie as well. Um, so one of the things I kind of figured out how to bring him in, and this is kind of a big if because it kind of depends on Hugh Laurie's schedule or whether or not he's busy or he's free, or if the producers, the higher ups, were to approach him saying that maybe, hey, Hugh Laurie, maybe you could come in and maybe do an episode or two, maybe have a little collaboration with your former co-star Jennifer, and try to make the best out of this scene and see if things work out, all that stuff. So then, Emma's kind of going through like just my idea. So like after she gets breaking out of this curse, Emma's starting to feel a bit of resentment. She regrets, all the chaos that she's caused throughout her peers and everyone around Storybrooke. So she maybe like goes into hiding, or she just feels like a deep sense of regret of that she was the savior and she went against everything she stood for, fighting for the side of good, and as opposed to evil, and she succumbed to the hate. Um, and then Hugh Glory were to reprise his role as Jasper, because Emma killed Corella towards the end of the fourth season, and and then like Jasper comes into Storybrooke and ends up harming one of Emma's loved ones, whether it be like Henry or Emma's parents, David and Mary Margaret, or even Killian, or AKA Captain Hook, who was Emma's love interest at the moment. Emma's kind of reluctant at first. She doesn't want to fight, and she's afraid that she's gonna um, do something, just commit something, like do something that's terrible, and she just doesn't want to, she just wants to back out of this fight. And eventually it kind of gets to the point where something drastic happens, like Hook's kidnapped or he's about to get killed, and then Emma finds out and she gets back into action, and Emma and Jasper have this sort of showdown, and Emma defeats Jasper. It could be like a mentor versus student dynamic. That's kind of the direction that I was hoping I was going for, and I even mentioned that in my original video, and I still hold on to that dynamic, which I really think it sounds really good on paper. And because if you watch House, Cameron was Hugh, one of House's original apprentices in the earlier seasons, and just to kind of revisit that role like 10 years ago, and now fast forward a decade later, just imagine just the chemistry they would have, not in terms of like romantic chemistry, but just the whole, you know, you've come a long way. We've known each other in the past. I've taught you this, I've taught you that, and now, you've grown, you've developed to become, become even better at what you do. And now it's all come down to this, it's come down to this final test, are you capable of defeating me, or are you capable of, just being good at what you do? Are you ready to take that next step into stardom? That's kind of how I can imagine that dynamic go out to be, just how that would unfold. So I think a Jennifer Morrison and Hugh Laurie to reunite, I think that would really be an interesting take, and just not just like for a mini house reunion and stuff, but just that moment, because that um, just that just a lot of words to describe it, just basically to summarize at that. So um, yeah, I would definitely, like I said, I don't mean to repeat myself, but I still think Hugh Laurie, if he were to guest star on Once Upon a Time, I think it would really be a very interesting take, and I think it would also, just open up a lot of opportunities. Now there are also some cons to this, so maybe because they delved into Emma's backstory so much in season four, and if you watch like some of the flashback scenes where Emma meets up with, finds out that one of her foster parents is the villain, the Snow Queen at the time, and her friendship with Lily, and basically Lily lying to her, and all this mumbo jumbo drama that goes on. Um, yeah, so maybe there could be some arguments that maybe other supporting characters of Once Upon a Time maybe deserves a little more focus, if you will. And you also factor in that bringing in like an actor from a former TV show would be kind of more like fan service in a way. So it could help or hurt a show depending on the circumstances. Um, yeah, so I would be open for Hugh Laurie coming in Once Upon a Time. So I mean, I'd be disappointed if it doesn't happen, but probably wouldn't be too angry about it necessarily, but just be a little bit disappointed, because um, I think it has potential to really be a really good, collaboration, a little feel good moment just to see those actors reunite, and especially for some of those, Jennifer Morrison fans that have followed her through House, and now that fast forward, she goes from like supporting role to more like a lead role on on Once Upon a Time. So just to kind of really see like a definitive evolution, to kind of describe it that. So I think that like I said, definitely be something to kind of consider. Um, or maybe some other actors from House would be on there, but like Lisa Edelstein or Omar Epps, Jesse Spencer, Olivia Wilde, to kind of name a few actors that were from House to maybe guest star. But I don't know. There's just some stuff to consider, and and I know like the demographics between House and Once Upon a Time are drastically different, because House is more aimed towards the 18 to 49 demographic, whereas Once Upon a Time, while there are still an 1849 demographic, you also factor in children and teenagers that watch the show primarily for the romance and the drama, and some of the fairy tale mythology that the show embraces, especially with Disney characters being incorporated in the show, like Tinkerbell, Peter Pan, um, Maleficent, um, just to kind of name a few Disney characters that were on Once Upon a Time at different points in time. Um, yeah, so I still think at the same time, I think it would just definitely probably potentially boost in some pretty good ratings, and I can imagine just to see that just that moment, just to see you know Emma and maybe Jasper maybe like have some kind of a confrontation. But that's if if they even consider bringing in the Jasper character. But it's just kind of a food for thought. So I think a Jennifer Morrison, Hugh Laurie, just the kind of like the student and mentor, just collaborating just for this one moment, definitely would be really. I just think it would be a really cool moment. But then again, just what's your opinion on it? Are there some ideas that you would like to consider, or would you like to see Hugh Laurie appear on Once Upon a Time? So, yeah, just let me know down the description box down below. Just leave out other ideas of how you would maybe, if you're interested in maybe seeing Hugh Laurie appear on Once Upon a Time, just pitch out your ideas down in the description box. This is just kind of a little fan interaction, if you will. And, I'm not expecting this video to get a lot of views, or I'm not expecting this video to get a lot of likes either. So, I mean, it's a different topic compared to some of the other stuff I've done, but since there hasn't really been a lot of discussions on YouTube about Hugh Laurie appearing on Once Upon a Time, I just thought, just kind of go out my way and take this opportunity to make an attempt at it. So, yeah, so feel free to leave your comments down in the comment section below. Until next time, this is the Gold Standards User 924 signing out.